Hello and welcome to the Law Podcast, brought to you by the University of Stirling Law Society. I am your host, Jedd France. Today I am delighted to be introducing our newly elected committee for 2021. Each committee member joins me for a brief chat to introduce themselves and explain what we can expect to see from them moving forward. Hello everyone, hello, and welcome back to the show. Today is a very special episode. I'm actually going to be joined by all of our committee, our newly elected committee, which were elected at our AGM on the 24th of March. Each member will be on the show for just a few minutes to briefly introduce themselves and let us know what their role entails, what we can expect to see from them in their role, and all of that good stuff. So first up we have Hayley. Hayley is our new secretary, taking over from the wonderful Vanessa. I imagine it's quite a stressful handover. And obviously we also have had Hayley on the podcast before. Hayley was actually one of the first guests to come on and tell us what it's like studying the LLB in your first year during the whole COVID times, which made for a very interesting episode. But obviously some people might not have listened to that episode, Hayley. So would you like to just give us firstly a brief introduction as to who you are, and then more on your role as secretary? What are you hoping to achieve whilst on committee?
Yes, thank you, Jedd. So my name's Hayley McAdam. I'm a first year LLB student at the University of Stirling. I've been part of the Law Society for the past year, and I've been going to lots of their events, and they have been really good and insightful. So I decided to run for the role of secretary, and obviously I was successful and was elected. There are quite a few duties of the role of secretary. One of the most important ones, I think, is continuing to publish a weekly newsletter. This is a newsletter that informs our members of any upcoming events and shares our amazing success stories and achievements. This includes, but not limited to, the work that we do for charity. Over this past year, the Society has raised an enormous amount of money for charity, and I can't wait to continue to share that success with all of our members. Next, the main focus as well for the secretary is the law ball.
Yes, the fun topic of law ball.
Yeah, obviously this year and even last year, law ball's not really happened, and the restrictions and situation hasn't really allowed us to have that sort of big celebration. So I'm determined for the future to ensure that we have the best law ball yet. And we definitely all deserve it after the past couple of years and that we've had. So I'm determined to make that the best one yet, and that everyone enjoys themselves.
Yeah, and it's obviously a very tricky topic, and I really don't envy yourself and Vanessa trying to plan that, because it's been an absolute nightmare all year. Obviously the restrictions can change day on day, so you never really know what's going on. And yeah, like you say, also the newsletter's a big one. It's been a rather big success for us this year, and it's really important that we kind of keep up that constant dialogue and communication with our members to let them know every week what's coming up and kind of what they can get involved in. So on the handover front with Vanessa, how is it going so far? How are you finding it in your first kind of week or so on committee?
I've actually found it quite relaxing, to be honest. Vanessa's been an absolute star. After I was elected, we had a Zoom call the day after, for about an hour or so, basically just doing the handover. We went through all documents, and basically the main thing obviously was law ball, because that's kind of something that's in the works just now. So that was the main focus of that. So she sent me all the documents that she had made over the past year and informed me in all the situations and bookings and things and all that organised for it.
Yeah, Vanessa is great. Vanessa's really good, and she was obviously very successful in her role as secretary, and we all love her, and we're all sad to see her go. But I have full faith in you, Hayley. I know obviously we've come to know you at different socials and stuff, and you were kind of someone we all had in mind as someone who would love to see run for committee. So to have you on board is absolutely fantastic, and we wish you all the best in your new role.
Thank you very much, Jedd.
So next up we have Aidan. Now Aidan has been a rather interesting figure at our socials. Someone, when I first started coming to the socials, I was like, who is this guy? I've never seen this guy before. He's not even a law student, and it's really, really remarkable to have someone on committee who is not even a law student. And I believe you are the first ever non-law committee member, Aidan, which is a massive achievement and very impressive, so well done on that front. And even more so, I'd imagine you're probably the first person to go on any kind of like degree focused society who doesn't even study that degree, if that makes sense. So it is really, really impressive. And obviously I'll let you introduce yourself and your background and what you bring to the role, but I think you really are suited for this role, and some of the conversations we've had and some of the kind of mock-ups we've seen of your work has been very impressive. So first of all, Aidan, would you just like to introduce yourself briefly, and then on your role, what do you hope to bring to the table as marketing officer?
Hi Jedd, thanks for having me. I actually didn't know that I was the first non-law member of the committee, so that's quite a buzz. In terms of what I bring to the role, I bring my experience in media content creation and also media content marketing. For those that don't know me, before I joined the university, I studied for 2 years at City of Glasgow College to obtain a HND qualification in television production. So in these 2 years, I learned vital industry standard skills in content creation, but also marketing that content. So in terms of what I want to bring to the marketing side of the society, as I mentioned in my campaign speech at the AGM, if you were there, I'd like to implement a video marketing structure to our sites, as well as keeping the traditional text and image posts, which have served the society tremendously in marketing our events. I'd also like to use my own personal filmmaking kit, which I've invested heavily in over the past 6 months, to add video promotion to the pages, very similar to the recent move for mental health promotional video that I made for the society. The new video promotions, they would help reach a wider audience and garner more interest in the academic events and the fundraisers we do, but also gain more interest from the potential contributors who will now be able to physically see evidence of how well we run events as a society. I also want to start using the society YouTube space more. This could be to post the previously mentioned promotional material and or just general videos such as sit-down interviews with contributors or committee members throughout the year. Overall, my main goal is to make the Society's social media spaces feel more cohesive and structured, as to create as wide a net as possible to gain more members and contributors in the future.
That all sounds brilliant, Aidan. And obviously, like you mentioned, we've seen the Move for Mental Health video, which was great. Anyone who got through to the end will have seen a lovely little cameo from myself. Hopefully, if you've listened to me speak before, you know I don't actually talk like that. It was more of a kind of jokey thing that ended up being in the video, but hey ho, it's all good fun. And yeah, Aidan is vastly experienced. If anyone who's been following our social media pages since the AGM, you'll have seen the graphics for the trauma event, you'll have seen the Meet the Committee posts. All that was done by Aidan and they all look absolutely fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Aidan's work in his role as marketing officer, and we wish you all the best in your role, Aidan. So next up we have Rona, who is a new face on the committee this year. I will hand over to Rona in a second to briefly introduce herself and let us know what her plans are. Rona is our new first year rep, taking over from Matthew, who did a great job previously, so I'm looking forward to seeing how Rona does in her new role. And just to give Rona a bit of credit, she has been a very familiar face for us as the year went on in terms of turn up to social. She's been very active on the Move for Mental Health fundraiser as well. So it's great to have you on board, Rona. Firstly, would you just like to introduce yourself for everyone listening and tell us what are your initial plans for the freshers?
Fab, thank you. I'm Rona. I am a first year BA student and I'm going to be moving back into first year next year to do the LLB, and I am now the first year rep. I'm really looking forward to it over the summer to be able to get more first years involved and see how we can get everyone super active within the society. I'm looking forward to hopefully doing a lot of different events and workshops to show the new freshers what the society is all about and how to get involved really, and hoping to do a lot of different things with different areas of the society to show kind of what meeting is and how the society works, what socials are like and everything, to get first years really excited about joining in and hopefully getting that all sorted within the next couple of months.
Yeah, and obviously you are a first year yourself, and like I said, you've been very active with the society, which is we obviously very much appreciate. So is that something you would recommend for the freshers coming in this summer in terms of get in the door early and get engaging with the society? Have you found that it's helped you in your university experience at all?
Oh, 100%, especially with the entirety of first year this year being in all virtual, and the fact that it looks like it's going to be a bit blended over the next year. I think it's a great way to make friends and sort of get yourself involved in the uni experience. It's so good, especially with increasing your confidence. I was not nearly confident enough to do something like this at the start of first year, so I think you really learn all about yourself as well, and it does build your confidence and makes you really feel like a part of the uni community, and it's really, I can't think of a reason why you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, and obviously it's great to hear that we are helping the first years, and I'm glad that the society's helped you yourself, Rona. And for anyone who may be listening, who might be an incoming first year in the summer, Rona is very friendly. She's very nice, so please do fire any questions her way. I'm sure she'll help you. And yeah, we're just glad to have you on board, Rona, and all the best in your new role.
Thank you.
So next up we have Ailey. Now Ailey is our first ever Diversity and Inclusion Officer for the Society. This is obviously a very important position, and it's a position that we've had in mind for a long time now. We think it's the right time to bring someone in to that sort of role. So Ailey, would you just like to briefly introduce yourself to the listeners and let us know what you're hoping to achieve during your spell on committee?
I'd be happy to do that. I am Ailey. I am a first year LLB student, and I look forward to pursuing all of my goals in this role. I really want to help lay the foundations for the role so that any successors that I have a good example to go by. I want to establish a well-known presence in the club for the role, just so that everybody knows what the role is about and what the role aims to do. My initial plans are to engage with our members and discover how diverse our society is, and find out ways that our members think that we can improve. I want to listen to individuals who maybe don't feel included or represented within the society, and implement measures that ensure we are a truly inclusive and diverse society. Throughout this year, something I really want to work on within the society is disability awareness, and finding out how we can support those within our society who have hidden physical and learning disabilities. I also want to emphasise that I'm here for anyone within our society, and anyone who has any issues will be looked into completely anonymously, and I hope to be a great point of contact for people who need support or feel like we could be doing something better to further include anyone and everyone.
Awesome. That sounds really, really good, Ailey. And you had a really strong speech at the AGM for anyone who wasn't there. Ailey really did stand out, and you can see your passion a mile off for the role. And I think you really are qualified to be in this role. And I think your ambitions and your aims for the role are really, really strong. And I really do look forward to the results, because I know you're planning on putting out a survey, which will obviously be anonymous. And I really am hoping that moving forward with you on the committee, that the society can really truly be a safe space for everyone, and that's obviously of utmost importance to everyone on committee. So thank you for coming on, Ailey, and we wish you all the best in your new role.
Thank you.
Okay, next of all, we have Umar. Now, Umar is another new face on the committee this year. Umar has taken over from Callum as our treasurer. Now, this is a role which I always find quite difficult to understand exactly what they do. So I'm going to kick it over to Umar, first of all, to briefly introduce himself and let him know who he is, and also tell us what his main duties are going to be as treasurer, and if he's hoping to achieve anything specific whilst on committee.
Hi, so I'm Umar, and I'm a third year LLB student this year. I think, as Jedd has said, it's quite a difficult task to define. I think when I was first writing my speech for the AGM, I kind of just thought, well, what am I really meant to be saying here? Because the main aim I have is obviously to keep the society afloat, make sure we don't run out of money. But I think once you really look into it deeper, there is a lot more going on behind the scenes. I mean, one of the most important things is the law ball. And as I found out in the last week or so, there's a lot of work there that goes into the budget. So I think that was one of my key focuses, to make sure that we could properly fund the law ball this year, and to make sure it is successful, and then looking forward to next year again to hopefully have the funds to do that. Another thing that I really wanted to do was make sure that if we do have any sort of events going on, or say merchandise, which we may look into the future, that it is actually profitable for the society, because while we do want to make stuff that's the best for our members, we also need to make sure that it is viable for ourselves. So I think that is the most important thing that we really need to look at, and that is to make sure the society is continuing to make profit over the coming year.
Perfect. And you seem like you really have a good grasp of what the role entails, and even though you've only been on committee for a week, I know we've had some kind of detailed discussions, and you really do seem like the perfect fit for the role. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. I really do think you are going to be the perfect fit to be our treasurer. And if anyone who was at the AGM, you'll know that Umar has a really good background in terms of running different businesses and helping set up different businesses and running websites, and it really is good to have that kind of business knowledge on committee, and I really think you're going to do a really good job. So it's great to have you on board, and we wish you all the best in your new role.
Thank you.
Right, next up we have a very special guest. It's my successor as academic coordinator, and I'm really excited about this because Jamie's one of my close friends. He's stepped into my shoes. I'm really looking forward to working with him, and I really do think he's going to absolutely smash out the park. I've got full faith in you, Jamie, to do the absolute best possible in this role. So, obviously, Jamie, I know who you are. We're very good friends, but for everyone listening, would you just like to, first of all, introduce yourself briefly, and then, second, let us know what your plans are in your role as academic coordinator?
Well, thank you very much, Jedd. It's a pleasure to be here. So, my name is Jamie Cortez. I'm a second year LLB student, and as Jedd has kindly said, I am the new academic coordinator of the Stirling University Law Society. I come from Newcastle. I moved to Stirling a couple of years ago, and it's been an absolute pleasure as both a member of the society and a student on this course. In terms of what members can expect from me as the academic coordinator, well, I'm going to try my best to be a prominent and active member of the society. I've tried my best to always keep up and come to events, and as a member of the committee, I hope to be able to provide and give back and show that I do really care about what we do. Second, I would, as the job role suggests, I would be having a hand in organising and presenting at as many events as possible, and hopefully being able to have my piece of the pie when it comes to overall being a deciding force in a lot of the stuff that we have around in the society. Third, and this is something new that I would like to implement, is I would like to be a first point of call for any academic concerns that members may have. Now, this would just mean that if anybody has a problem, if they have a suggestion, if they just have any sort of concern, I'd like them to always know they can come to me, they can talk to me at any time that they want, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that they may have. In terms of stuff that I would like to plan or to make for the society itself, a lot of it runs along the lines of traditional academic workshops. However, what I'd like to implement is a scheme over the summer that mainly caters towards first year students. Now, what I mean by this is running a few workshops that cater to all years, but are more especially working on incoming first years. This pertains to learning about essay writing, how to prepare for seminars, and for older years to work on mooting and honours modules. Now, I think this is something that could help to prepare students and let them know what they're in for when they're coming to this degree. And I certainly think that if I had that kind of experience when I first joined the university, I think I'd have a much better time than I think a lot of people do tend to have on such a degree. Secondly, I would like to widen the range of events that we look to accommodate so that we can include all areas of law, from academic subjects to careers events to non-law topics that can help to enhance a student's awareness or their practical skills. So, for instance, I would like to run workshops on building a CV or interview skills, or helping to develop commercial awareness. But then I'd also like to talk about hot and button topics that have concerns and ramifications within the legal industry. So this would include diversity within the legal industry, innovation and the changing legal landscape, certain political affairs, and a continuation of our mental health conferences that the society has run over this academic year. So yeah, that's pretty much me. I hope you've enjoyed listening to me for the past few minutes. Thank you very much.
Amazing, Jamie. Honestly, I've been sitting here the whole time with a smile on my face, because obviously we've had discussions previously before the AGM, after the AGM, just to kind of get you up to speed with what the academic coordinator does, and you really do bring a kind of fresh outlook on the role, and your ideas, everyone who's just listened to are very, very good and they sound very interesting. I definitely agree with what you're saying about first years. I think if we can get them into society early during the summer and get them up to speed in terms of essay writing and just generally give them an insight into what their first year is going to be like at Stirling, I think, like you said, that would have been something that we would have really benefited from. So if we can give that to them, then I think we're doing a really good job. But first and foremost, Jamie, absolutely amazing. Great to have you on, and we wish you all the best in your new role.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have a familiar voice for everyone. Everyone knows Holly. Holly's back again. I think this is Holly's third time on the podcast, so it's great to have Holly back. Now, Holly is obviously our old marketing officer, and now she's turned social secretary, which I think is a very exciting transition. And Holly, you've been an ever-present at our socials throughout the academic year. I think you've been to every single one. Obviously, you and Claire, who's the previous social sec, are very, very good friends, and your support for your friend was amazing. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you step into Claire's shoes. I think it's going to be very, very exciting. I think you're going to do a really good job. So first of all, just in case this is anyone's first time hearing from you, could you just first of all introduce yourself briefly, and then second of all tell us how you're feeling about being on the other side and arranging the social events, and if you have any immediate plans on that front.
Yes, so my name's Holly. Jedd can't get rid of me because this is my third time on the podcast. I'm just about to finish my third year of studying the LLB, going into my fourth year. And last year I was on the committee as marketing officer, but this year I went for the role of social secretary. So I'm actually feeling really good about it. I mean, obviously it'll be a bit strange considering that like for the last year I've only been attending the socials, but I feel like there's quite a lot of transferable skills from my role as marketing officer, and obviously like you said, me and Claire are really good friends, but also like in our roles in the committee we had to work quite closely together, so I've definitely got a good idea like what goes into it and what to kind of expect. In terms of immediate plans, like for the upcoming month we don't really have too much planned, just because we know that obviously people will be busy with like coursework deadlines and exams. I know that I am, so I mean obviously we've got the trauma event that you've organised on the 15th.
Yep.
But I'm thinking the week after we're kind of planning a sort of mindfulness, like managing exam stress kind of session. So I'm thinking that will be the week after the trauma event, so the week before kind of the exam season starts. So hopefully that will be useful for everyone, but I think in particular like younger students, maybe first and second years who don't have quite as much experience with sitting university exams. So it'll kind of just be an opportunity for people to share any tips and tricks they've got in terms of dealing with exam stress or exam anxiety, or dealing with like kind of having multiple exams and studying for them and things. So hopefully keep an eye out on the social media, because obviously there'll be posts up about when it's at the exact date it's going to be happening, but be around that time.
Perfect. You're obviously a podcast pro now, Holly. You're so used to being here that you just speak so eloquently and so calmly, no stuttering whatsoever. It's great to see it. So much, makes it life a lot easier for me when I don't have to even really do anything. It's just give you the questions and away you go. So yeah, we all know you're going to do a really good job. We're all very much excited to have you back on committee, and I know myself I'm looking forward to working with you for another year. So yeah, all the best in your new role, and no doubt we'll hear from you again very soon.
Thank you for having me.
So next up we have Nadine. Now Nadine has been our fundraiser for the past academic year, and she was successful in being re-elected as fundraiser again. Now Nadine's never been on the podcast before, so I'm going to kick it over to her in a second to briefly introduce herself and let us know what year she's in and how she's doing, all that good stuff. But yeah, Nadine's been great as our fundraiser. Everyone's seen the fundraising efforts we've done this year. We've raised a lot of money for charity. So Nadine, would you just like to briefly introduce yourself and let us know what we can expect from you moving forward?
Thanks, Jedd. So hi, my name is Nadine. I'm in my third year of the LLB, going into my fourth year hopefully next year. I'm really, really happy that I was re-elected as fundraiser again. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really, really fun working with everyone over the last year. We've accomplished so much in terms of fundraising. We've done so well, raising quite a lot of money, around over 1,600 to be exact, and that's just including SAMH, because obviously we've just hit our target, which we're all really, really excited about. So glad we've managed to hit that. And it was yesterday was the last day for the fundraiser as well, so I'm glad we managed to get that last push, and obviously I'm so grateful for everyone that's donated and shared the link and supported us in any way that they can. So I am really excited to continue my role on next year as fundraiser, and I am 100% confident that we will be able to smash all our targets yet again. We've done so well over the last year, reaching all our targets and actually going above and beyond quite a lot of the fundraisers that we've had. Like we haven't, some of them, we've managed to like just about reach target. A lot of them were like way over the target, which is exactly like Sam H as well. We've managed to like go a couple of £100 over the target that we initiated or that we initially wanted. So yeah, I'm super excited, and I know for a fact that we're going to do even bigger and better things this year and accomplishing even more than we did over the last year. So yeah, exciting things to come.
Yeah, I mean, the fundraisers this year have been amazing. When you think of the different events we've had, and we've always tried to run them in conjunction with a fundraiser for a different charity. We've had Strathcarron, we've had Shelter, obviously we've had the big one recently for the Move for Mental Health with Sam H. And you know, it was getting towards the last week, and we were still like a couple £100 off, and I was like, oh no, we're gonna miss it on 800, and just came out of nowhere.
I know, I was actually thinking like maybe this would be the first one where we don't actually reach the target. I was a bit like, you know, I wasn't really upset. I'm obviously glad that we've managed to raise a lot, but it would have been nice to reach the target. But then when you guys announced it yesterday that we had just reached the target, I was so happy. Like at least, you know, we're continuing on continuing on the path, you know, like the same ideas that we wanted to reach our targets, we've managed to accomplish it, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, it was amazing to see. I think we're pretty much close to $1,000 now for Sam H, which is
that's
amazing. It's unbelievable, and I'm so proud of everyone to get this done, and it's absolutely amazing work. So we're absolutely delighted to have you back on board, and we wish you all the best in your continued role.
Thank you very much.
So next up, I'm delighted to be joined by a good friend of mine, Holly Thomas. It's the return of the mooting maestro, as I'm calling it. Obviously, Holly, you smashed it at our first competitive event alongside Megan, who is sadly no longer with us. She's a fourth year, so she's graduating this year. And you will be hearing from Angelica, who is your new partner on the Mooting Council, later in the episode. So obviously you're re-elected, you're part of the Mooting Council again. Many congratulations for that. Firstly, just in case anyone is listening to you speak for the first time, could you just give us a brief introduction as to who you are first? And secondly, what are your aims for the mooting side of the society?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Holly. I am a second year LLB student. I was on, as Jedd said, the Mooting Council last year, where I participated in the Lord Jones moot with Megan, and we reached a very respectable third place, beating...
Smashed it.
Well, you know, for our first moot, it was pretty good.
Yeah,
like, I'm not gonna, like, you know, blow one trumpet or anything, but it was a miracle. So no, it was very good. I'm just really glad you also pointed out that Megan has not died when you were like, she just sadly left us. I was like, nope, she's just graduated. So just clear that up in case there's any confusion.
Yeah.
Aims wise for this year, I feel like particularly with Angelique joining, we've got a really strong focus. We've got a really good amount of enthusiasm. So we have already started with one of our first aims we discussed. We have already tried to open communication with the faculty regarding bringing in a moot alternative to the dissertation. So that is currently in the process. I think my basic aims for this year coming is, one, increase the amount of eternal mooting that we're doing, because I think a lot of people are put off by it because they don't have the experience in like what I would class as a safe space, but really it's actually, I would like to describe it more as of a dangerous space, because it's the first, like, it's the place where you can expose yourself to getting things wrong and no one's going to ridicule you. You're never, like, if you get anything wrong, it's not a problem. So it's a way of gauging your, like, really valuable skills to take it on to a competition level. With that in mind, I'd like to get a lot more sort of faculty involved, and we're looking at hoping to have a moot at least once a month during next year. So what I would like to do is kind of do it in like year groups. So second years would judge first years, and then third years would judge second years, and so on and so forth. So you've got like an easy, relaxed, informal approach to it, but you can keep the formalities within the physical mooting. And I think the other thing for me is just to expose Stirling mooting to far more competitions. Obviously with COVID last year, there was virtual options, but they were massively reduced, and props to Dundee Mooting Stirling for the... Dundee Mooting? It's been a long day. Didley Mooting for doing the Lord Jones, because that was like logistically really impressive. So yes, and I think my little ace up the sleeve, if we can get it done with on top of everything else, is I would like to try and get a competition produced for Stirling by the end of the year.
That would be really, really cool. And I think mooting is definitely in safe hands. I think I mentioned that on the previous podcast where we had yourself and Megan on after the Lord Jones moot. I definitely said that mooting is in safe hands, and I really am looking forward to seeing the progress that he's make over the next year. I think you really are going to establish a strong mooting presence for the society, and I really hope we can get everything up and running in terms of the internal competitions, get us to more external competitions, hopefully even get 2 teams involved at external competitions. That would be really, really good. So I think you've got a lot of big ideas, and I think you're going to do an excellent job, Holly. So congratulations for being re-elected.
Thank
and
you.
Look forward to seeing what happens for mooting moving forward. Okay, next up on the show, we have our second half of the newly elected Mooting Council. I'm joined by Angelica, who is on her first term on the committee. It's great to have a new face on the Mooting Council. So first of all, Angelica, just in case anyone hasn't listened to the episode we did previously, could you briefly introduce who you are? And secondly, tell us what you're hoping to achieve whilst on committee as part of the Mooting Council.
Hi everyone, my name is Agiliki, or Angelica for those who can't pronounce my real name. I don't blame you. I'm from Greece. So I will accept anything you want to call me. I am a second year LB student, and I am part of the Mooting Council alongside Holly Thomas, who just spoke. So I really want to echo what she said there. We really want to make the community more open and less intimidating, and we want to continue what Megan and Holly did the previous term. They did a wonderful job in the competition. I was there and rooting for them all along, and that's what sparked my interest. And honestly, I think if people would give us a chance and attend one session, they'll see how fun it can be and what it can do for you, because it can really enhance your skills. I know people have a problem with public speaking, and especially during this time when everything is online, that has impacted people's social skills, and I think it will improve them, and you will gain your confidence back by doing this. Also, I'm really excited to see what we can do in regards to growing the community. We're really excited to see the first years and just show them how we work and what we can bring to the table, and honestly how they can expand on their skills. And honestly, if you feel intimidated, there's nothing to be afraid of. We don't bite. We're actually very nice people. And I'm excited to see you all join us, and it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with what Angelica said. Her and Holly, they're a great duo. They're very good friends. They're very friendly. And if anyone does think they might be interested in mooting, I would definitely encourage you to go along to one of the introductory sessions which they're going to put on in the near future, because it's something that it does come across as very formal. Like Angelica says, it can be very intimidating, and it's something that it's a big step to get involved in, and people tend to shy away from it. But it's really good for building up your presentation skills, and obviously if you're looking to go into court work or litigation down the line, it's a really big factor in helping you get ready for that line of work. So if it's something you think that you could potentially be interested in, I would definitely say try and give it a go, because like I said, Angelica and Holly, they're a great team and they'll make you feel very welcome. So thanks for coming on, Angelica. It was great to hear from you, and we wish you all the best in your new role.
Thank you so much.
Well, I suppose it only makes sense for me to say a little bit as well, considering I have been elected as the new vice president of the society, and I'll just squeeze this in before we have Claire on to round us off. So yeah, obviously it's a massive honour and pleasure to be Neil's successor. Neil's been somewhat of a mentor of mine over the past 6 months in his role as vice president, and it's been great to work alongside him on different academic events and different initiatives that we've had throughout the academic calendar. And it's really, seeing his motivation and his consistent desire to push us forward and push the society forward in general was a massive factor for me in wanting to ultimately be his successor and move into vice president myself, now that he's sadly leaving us and graduating this year as a fourth year. So yeah, just seeing how hard he worked was a big motivator for me. And in terms of my own ideas and my own kind of plans for the society, I'm really looking forward to working closely with Jamie, the academic coordinator, on different events. We obviously have the trauma awareness event coming up in collaboration with trauma aware lawyers in Scotland, which is going to be very interesting, a very insightful initiative and an event that I'm really looking forward to hosting for our members. And I think it's somewhat of a different topic that we've never really looked at. A lot of our stuff has been commercially focused over the past 6 months or so, and taking a different angle and looking at a completely different topic completely is something that we do want to do moving forward. It's something I've spoken about before. It's something I know different committee members have mentioned as well. Just trying to make sure that everything that we're doing and covering loads of different topics, regardless of what your interest is, whether you want to go down the traditional practice route of going, DPLP and then onto a traineeship and perhaps going to work in a big commercial firm, or whether it's more private practice in terms of maybe criminal defence or family law, anything to do with children's law, or maybe even not being a lawyer at all. I want to make sure that we have loads of different events and different things going on that, if you're a law student, obviously, and you pay your £5, you're going to get value for that £5, regardless of what it is you're interested in. So yeah, the society's been a big part of my life for the past 6 months. I've had this podcast and different events going on. I feel like I've made some significant contributions to the society and our members. So I'm looking forward to hopefully adding some more value and continuing to build on the great work left by Neil and you and the entire previous committee in general. And I think it's very exciting times to be a law student here at the Stirling University. So thoroughly looking forward to it. Right. Next up, it's the big one. It's the one everyone has been waiting for. I am joined by our new El Presidente, as we've called
Hello.
it, new queen in town, Claire Welsh. Obviously, Claire was our social secretary for the past academic year, and she is now filling the void left by Ewan, who is sadly graduating this year and has moved into president. So first of all, Claire, I will just give you a chance to quickly introduce yourself in case this is the first time anyone has listened to the podcast or hasn't listened to your previous episodes. And secondly, would you just like to tell us what you're hoping to achieve during your spell as the head honcho of the society?
Of course. So yeah, you made a very good point. I'm filling the shoes of Ewan, which is going to be a difficult task because he did a very, very good job. And I think we've kind of talked about this before, but the foundations that Ewan and Neil in the previous committee kind of laid are making our job a little bit more fun, maybe like building on what they've done. So I'm really, really excited for that. I'm currently in third year of the LLB, going into my fourth year, and I'm planning to practice. So after next year, hopefully we'll be doing the diploma, which is exciting. Yeah, in terms of the society, I think one of my main focuses last year was definitely on the mental health element, which was really, really good. And I would love to kind of try and carry that on into this year. And I'm actually really excited to see how it plans out, because obviously last year was very much online, whereas I'm hopeful that this year could be more in person or even like a blended experience. So I think it'll be really fun to kind of carry those same conversations on, but doing it in a different setting. So that's one thing.
another focus of mine is going to be trying to establish us as a society among other Scottish university law societies. I think there's also a lot, so I really want to engage with them, but also I would really like to engage with more of the Stirling societies too, because I think there's a lot of kind of issues that we talk about that would interest a lot of people, not just law students. So just trying to kind of establish a really good name for us in our own university, but also Scotland wide. And yeah, just kind of encouraging as much engagement with members as we can, because we definitely do events that they appeal to someone. We've got something for everyone. So I think just trying to encourage as many people from as many year groups to just get involved with us, I think that's definitely my main aims.
I think you've hit the nails on the head, Claire. I think everyone listening to that should feel very motivated to be part of the society. I feel like someone who's trying not to be biased, because I've got to know Claire quite well over the past 6 months, and I'm a big fan of Claire, very close friend, and I feel like Claire is a really good fit for the role. I don't just think your role as social sec has made that happen. I think you've been involved in a lot of the big things that have happened this year, whether it be the fundraiser, the Move for Mental Health fundraiser, which was massive, other fundraisers as well, the mental health events in general have been massive, and you also played a big part in the Ashurst sponsorship deal as well. So I feel like it's a natural progression for you, and I think you are the right person to lead this society forward, and I really am excited to see where we go, and I think you have a lot of big plans for us, and I know myself as Vice President, I'm looking forward to kind of working under your stewardship and getting to know you even better. So thank you for coming on, Claire, it's been a pleasure, and hopefully we get to hear from you again very soon.
Thank you.
And that's it, folks. That's your newly elected committee for 2021. I hope you've enjoyed hearing from us all and the exciting plans that we have for the coming year. We have a really good lineup this year, a very strong lineup of people on the committee. So it's a very exciting time, and we look forward to speaking to you all again very soon. Thank you very much for listening to another episode of our podcast. If you like what you hear, please follow us on your podcast platform of choice to ensure that you never miss an upload. To keep up to date with us, you can follow our Instagram page, which is Star Law Society. Additionally, our Twitter is @_Star Law Society. In the meantime, it's goodbye from me, and I'll speak to you again very soon.